Hello and welcome to my presentation on interning at United Families International. Before beginning, I would like to give a brief overview of what the mission statement of this organization is. United Families International has a 6-point mission statement, which begins with protecting and defending the family as the foundational unit of a society which deserves support and protection. Defending marriage as intended between a man and a woman and founded on chastity before marriage and fidelity in marriage. Protecting and defending life as the right to it before as well as after birth and promote the protection of all human life at all stages. Next, they defend human sexuality intended as a desire that is appropriate, needful, and joyous part of human nature, but best expressed within the bond of a man and woman marriage. Next, they defended the parents' rights, and they also affirmed that parents have an obligation as well as the natural right to love, protect, provide for, and teach their children. Finally, they protect and defend religion as the right to believe and practice religious convictions, and a right that must be promoted and protected among all cultures and people. They emphasize the importance of religion to individuals and society. With that stated, this is what we're going to be talking about. So how did I find and arrange this internship? So the first time I heard about United Families International was during a presentation in class. The class was called the Child and Family Advocacy, and it was conducted at BYU, Idaho. The internship was also mentioned during one of the several presentations or events that the Child and Family Advocacy Society of BYU, Idaho organizes. You can find their Facebook page on Facebook under the name BYU Idaho Child and Family Advocacy Society. And when I decided that this is where I wanted to intern, I went on the UFI website, unitedfamilies.org, and I clicked on the Get Involved tab, then Internship, and then Contact Kristen, and I found an email where you can contact the internship coordinator at United Families International. I also contacted Miss Barlow, who can be reached at this number, and you can also find it on the website by following this this line. Once we decided that once it was clear that I wanted to do this internship, I got given a list of documents to provide. An internship interview was scheduled and things moved on from there. So what were some of my responsibilities? To begin with, interns have some aspects that are the same and others that they can decide to do as a focus or an emphasis type of work. So the things that all interns have to do are to write at least 2 original blog articles that they can then publish on the UFI blog page. The articles must align with UFI values, and each of them are reviewed by your supervisor, who will offer you valuable edits and help you make your work ready for publishing. Then all interns are organized by an appointed supervisor to search and schedule the posting of 11 news articles drawn from media outlets in line with UFI values. Searching and scheduling are weekly tasks to complete. For example, I was assigned to search 11 original news articles every Monday, and I had to post them on the website for them then to be published on the following Tuesday. These articles are posted and appear on the UFI news arm, which is known as the World Family News. And don't worry, your supervisor will provide you with guidance and instructions on how to complete all these tasks effectively. Then every intern can choose a third area of focus where they can want to work, and I chose to assist with the UPR branch of United Families International. UPR stands for Universal Periodic Review, and it is a process that countries belonging to the United Nations undergo periodically to appraise their efforts in being true to their international and domestic policy commitments. As part of this work, I was tasked with the following. I had to search articles on policy changes, social humanitarian programs, and news of natural disasters impacting the lives of locals in 75 countries of the world. To do this, we used the Google Alerts, through which I had to sort daily. These articles had to be categorized by country on an email and be sent out weekly to my supervisor for additional screening. The purpose of this task is to help UFI create relationship with delegates from the 75 countries. Next, I had to contact UN delegates from a specific list of countries with the goal of establishing who was the delegate appointed for the Commission on the Status of Women. To do this, I was given a directory book and I would have to call delegates at the UN headquarters in New York and juggle through their heavy accents to determine the name and contact information of the appointed delegate. Furthermore, I took on additional tasks like reading all the recommended books for interns. I contributed research to the creation of a UPR on China's religious freedom status. My work consisted in finding evidence about China's commitments to promoting religious freedom in their country. And to do this, I had to peruse the UN digital library system, retrieve and read diverse documents, and extract the evidence, much like preparing a legal case. Then I read and familiarized myself with several original UFI publications on subjects like abortion, marriage, and policy guidance. And I also found reports and outcome documents from conferences or sessions of 2 UN commissions so that they could be posted on the UFI website under the UN Work tab. How did I benefit the site I worked at? Well, to begin with, I completed the tasks that I was asked to complete. I think this is helpful because it allows the staff to focus on other commitments of a more specialized nature and that they are better qualified to do. I sought to understand what was expected of me so that I could do the job they needed me to do. This is beneficial because it creates trust between supervisors and interns, and trust is a foundational trait to have in a quality working environment. I strove to do my best, and I asked for more work to complete. I think this is beneficial because it allows for more work to be done. When interns work hard at their tasks, the organization shines with a positive life and can move forward at a good pace, carrying on their plans and goals more effectively. And this, I believe, is incredibly beneficial. Then I sought to be personal, kind, respectful, and interested towards my supervisors. I always respected them in my work, and this benefits because it facilitates dialogue, relationships, and collaboration. It is in the nature of the gesture to give off good results. And finally, I diligently sought for correction and accepted all the feedback that I was given, because this showed that I was interested in improving and it would make the work go by much faster. Next, how did I benefit personally from this experience? Well, first and foremost, with exposure. I'm glad that I was exposed to some of the workings and machinery of this organization, because I could observe how they approach and reach, for example, delegates at the UN to advance and promote values in which they believe. I had the opportunity to hear new words, expressions, ideas, and to observe modes of operation in the NGO. The exposure and the tasks that I was given gave me a sense of the urgency that there is for advocates for goodness and truth in a world torn by poor intellectual attitudes, mediocre scientific reasoning, pride, and an obsession with self-indulgence. I've learned about how to construct a UPR document. I have the opportunity to observe and learn about dynamics of power and influence that are at place and at work at different institutional levels, both domestically and internationally. It is these dynamics between groups that are responsible for many of the social issues that we see in the world today. I've learned about companies, individuals, and programs that are pro-family or anti-family. I have observed firsthand how poor communication and weak relationship attitudes undermine not only the family but an entire society. Next, I had a great opportunity to contribute in my own way. I found great satisfaction, for example, in seeing my articles being published. It meant that I was able to craft written works that could advocate alongside this organization's values. I was able to help with research, and I did a great job at it, and I liked it too. I was told that I did a fantastic work at that, so that was really satisfactory, and I'm sure my contributions have also alleviated some of the weights off the staff's shoulders, thus allowing them to focus on more urgent work. Next, my understanding has benefited from this experience. I feel more capable of articulating a defensive stance in favor of the pro-family movement. I feel capable of understanding the premises or assumptions that inspire a solution to a social problem, and I know better for myself what makes up a healthy society and what doesn't, and I'm willing to defend correct principles and practices towards that goal. Last but not least, I've benefited by conducting lots of research. That has honed my skills and making me faster and more efficient at finding exactly what I'm looking for, and also a faster reader and a better at understanding what I'm coming across. That's been very beneficial. Next, what is one important connection between your coursework and what I experienced? So one of the overarching points of the Bachelor of Science in Marriage and Family Studies is the acquisition of a family perspective over all social issues. With my experience, I am willing to argue that the family perspective is a very valid interpretive lens to apply to social issues. If you imagine your country as a huge family, then it is quite possible that issues at a large scale are an extension or a mirror of issues happening at a smaller scale. When the parts of the whole, for example, don't work, the whole cannot function well either. Yeah, granted that there may be compensatory forces here and there that keep the whole working, the truth remains that a mechanism cannot hope to remain in place long term when its components suffer. Metaphorically speaking, then, families are the basic units, components, or modules of a society. When families do not function well, society will suffer. Therefore, issues like abortion, drug abuse, human sexuality, and so forth can all be understood through the family perspective interpretive lens. And we can reach the essential source of an issue, we can understand it as at least one or more breached basic family or pro-social values. Would I recommend this site to other students? Yes. You don't have to be majoring in political science, history, or pre-law to participate in or intern with United Families International. An interest alone in policy and advocacy is sufficient. If you happen to be a student with a variety of interests and skills, please know that UFI can greatly benefit from the following applied skills. For example, IT and web design to make the web content of UFI more visible and appear more often on search engines. Foreign language speakers would be immensely beneficial because they could access original legal and policy material in the native language, and they could also expand the content of UFI to a wider audience around the world if they can translate the content in foreign languages. Communication majors, specifically those interested in with skills in group dynamics and conflict mediation, because major social battles and policy battles are conducted by groups of conflict, and those with group dynamic understanding and conflict mediation skills would be incredibly helpful in bringing conflicting groups together, as the beginning of change is often mutual understanding. Psychology majors would be incredibly helpful, particularly those interested in social and moral psychology, because understanding the dynamics and the mechanisms by which the mind works is at work during conflicts of any sorts, and understanding how our minds reason and try to defend a position and how to bring people to understand one another are all essential skills and knowledge that could further the work of the pro-family movement. And finally, human science, human biology majors would be incredibly helpful in bringing their expertise and knowledge on human development to really explain and defend the truth about the topics such as the right to life, and so social issues like abortion today, human sexuality, gender identity, and all those type of things. Individuals with rounded interest that cross between advocacy and policy and their chosen major would greatly help the mission and would find tasks and space for the expression of their knowledge. So if you happen to be interested in interning with United Families International, you can reach the UFI coordinator at this email, or alternative call Miss Barlow at this phone number. Thank you so very much for watching.